Oh, look at that. We're going. Look, I got a fresh deer hunter shirt. I've been waiting for this one. Ladies and gentlemen, I haven't been assaulted like this on my interplanetary funksmanship, if you will, in a long time. Joshua Abel, he gets the new email for the Jerry Garcia primer, and he goes, "Hey, thanks so much. You're a great teacher," even though you're a George Clinton fan, with no reaction of knee deep. I haven't been pushed that hard. Pushed, challenged as a fan of George Clinton and P-Funk since 2004 or 5-ish. I was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I was in school in Charleston, and I bought 10 tickets for me and a bunch of friends to go to see P-Funk up in Myrtle Beach at I believe the House of Blues. You go down the stairs into the pit, or maybe you go up. I don't know. We were light years ahead of everybody else there, if you know what I'm saying. So we go to the front, right? Because we always go front and center. That's where you find me at shows. And we go up there, and I'm just accosted by these two black women that are up there. And they look at me. They got their sunglasses on. Of course I do too. And they're like, "What are you doing here? What do you know about George Clinton and P-Funk?" And I looked at him straight in the eye, and I said, "Listen, the kid was kicked back. He was lining the cut. He was eating some fish and chips when this crazy little groupie from the funky side of town began to give him some lip. And she was babbling about how bad she could do the bump. And the kid said, on the real side of things, 'Bertha, you got too much rump to bump.' Laughing at you. What's happening, Houston?" And she goes, "Ooh." And of course, we went on to have an amazing evening. Now, this book, George Clinton. So again, a true fan can pronounce this. There's basically two ways. It's one of two things. It's either brothers be yo, like George, ain't that funkin' kind of hard on you? Or it's brothers be yo like George, ain't that funkin' kind of hard on you? That's how you know a real fan when you see one. I've seen George Clinton and P-Funk more than any other band in history. There is something about the rhythm of the one, and then vamps all day, and then having vocal layers added combined with searing electric guitars, which has just, it has, I was thinking about with the recent death of Eddie Van Halen, I was like, what else has influenced me that much? And I figured I should start sharing more. So I figured this would be a good time, because George Clinton and all the limericks and the rhymes and the singing and the concerts, like, I've had more fun, more joy in my life at George Clinton P-Funk shows than anywhere else. It's just true. So here we go. Joshua, after an incredible amount of ribbing, this is Not Just Knee Deep, Germany, 1985. Now, I obviously know this tune. I've obviously seen them play this tune a bunch of times live, but I have not seen this one, and this one features the Baltimore native, the great Dennis Chambers, and I have not seen this. Here we go.
Yeah! So yeah! So hell yeah!
Listen to the snare.
Whoa! Let me hear y'all say yeah! Yeah!
Turn that mic up.
But I just see she was totally
A little hot, a little hot.
Not just me, she was totally going to the freeway. She's working. It wasn't funky. Hey, Germany.
Hey, Germany.
Not just me, she was totally going to the freeway. Yeah. Come here.
Oh, dude, how fire is this band? How great is Dennis Chambers' energy back there? The snare is just like a shotgun. All right, let me go back and kind of show you a little bit of what's going on here. And I promise we'll let it play all the way through. But there's more happening in here than you would think. This is a P-Funk thing where you kind of think you're in a vamp. You're in a groove. I mean, you are usually, right? You know, it's all about the one. Boom, ba dun dun dun, ba dun dun dun, boom, dun, right, all night. Like that's the vibe, right? And everybody in the crowd, it's just like that, the wave, and then the, and that's what you're there for, right? But then it's usually the vocals that create the harmony with the melody, because usually the rhythm section is just, they're not like hammering out big progressions. They're like just sending out that big rhythmic wave, and then it's all the vocal stacking that kind of gives you a clue of what's going on here. Check it.
Say yeah! Say yeah! Say hell yeah! Whoa!
So what you have here is you're going back and forth between kind of like an E7 sharp 9 vibe and then an A minor. And it's not really clear. It's not really clear if we're like in A harmonic minor yet. It's not really focused. There's a lot of cool things that happen. So you got this. That's like your bass line, right? It's just that chromatic walk from A, G, F sharp, F to E, and then when on the way back up, G, G sharp, A. So. And variations in there, right? You know, you can push up from the F sharp, right? There's so many liberties that can be taken in there. But that's your basic groove. And then the underpinning of the harmony. Check it.
Say yeah! Say yeah! Say hell yeah!
So it's all those upper little pieces of E7 sharp 9. So you get this, right? So you got your G sharp, which is your major third of E. You got your D, which is your flat 7. And then you have your regular G, which is your minor third. So we're mixing major and minor. People know this as the Hendrix chord, right? But you're really letting the bass do the work and staying out of it. I mean, you can do. And then it goes right back to A minor. A minor 7, you can make this A a G. There's always those two little stabs there. And you can voice lead more than that if you want to be jazzier. But that's your basic groove. You have the, you know, right, over that. Like, and those are what's kind of pulling it together. So let's keep going.
Whoa!
Okay, and I forgot. So over all of that, you got the, like an A minor little vibe. Going up to the 5, 4, flat 3, root. So. Right? And you got to be real kind of funky with it. That's a keyboard line. Now check it out. Here's where it gets interesting. Where the hook is the vocal chant which everybody in the audience holding their beers up singing, right? This is the hook. See that drop with him on the snare? One more time. Just listen to it. It's all just kick, kick, kick. But that drop with the flam right before it just pushes it across the bar line. It just makes the one, I'm telling you, a shotgun, a cannon all night.
Let me hear y'all say, yeah.
So what is this? What is this? So we think we're in A minor, right? Or A harmonic minor. We're not positive yet. We know we have an E7 sharp 9 and an A minor 7. Comes in on E. So on the 5th. We're all good here. You have an F, so the flat 6 of A. Okay, we're screaming straight through. G, flat 7 of A. All right, game time. Ladies and gentlemen, what do we have here? That's a flat 9, right? That is a flat 9. That is a B flat. Then it goes back to A, right? And then walks that back down. Sorry. And then, and teases on it. It goes straight across from the 5th over to the flat 3 of A. But if you just listen to how it's played, it almost makes you think that C is the root, right? Which would be its relative major. But what is really happening in here, right? If it were C, this would make it C mixo, right? And we're not C mixo. That wouldn't be right. Where do all these notes fit in? They fit in the F major scale or D minor. And you'll see when we go to the next part of the tune that it modulates over there, right? So the whole theme of this, the whole thing that's happening in here, E7 sharp 9 to A minor, right? That's your tonal center, the horn line, A minor, but then your melody, that's the note. All of that is coming from D minor, right? Or its relative F sharp major. So really, what's happening is this is A Phrygian, if you will. D minor, D Aeolian, and then it just so happens that they're making that E7 sharp 9 just to get that push in the first part of the verse. Spectacular. Spectacular. And you would never know that in the crowd singing. It seems so natural. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of the Parliament singers. That's it. Let's keep going. There's that drop. Hear how that just rings out? Listen to that fill. So if you're playing this with your band, right, you can be real busy, but if you got a drummer like this and your bass is just pushing all around, what you should really do is what you hear the guitars do right here, and just do the big stabs. Listen.
But I just knew she was totally boy, what's it need? Hey, Germany. Not just needed, she was totally needed when she did the French lady. Yeah.
All right, so, oh God, this is so good. Dennis Chambers is so good. So what's happening here? It does, in fact, modulate to that D minor. And you hear the guitarist go, again, just ringing out the D minor 7, right? The 1, flat 7, and there's that F. That's the key to the song. Whenever you're thinking of everything, oh, what's that note? What's the... Bam, it's F. F is the answer to your question. And I'll show you. It keeps coming back. It's the hook. The hook is F in this tune, right? So you got this D minor 7. He brings it back to get A minor 7, right? And that little move is and then right there, it goes to A, and it makes it dominant. Your C becomes C sharp, but what's still in that bad boy? F. A7 sharp 5, if you will. The key to the whole tune is F. That's the note. That's the note that is stuck in you on the way home. That's what they're driving home. It's that and the 1. That's what's happening here. So you got this walk down, again, D natural minor. D, C, it's your flat 7, B flat 6, A. You know. Yeah, that. Now you can do that because the vocals do that. Sometimes the guitars do that. You know, root, flat 3, root 4. That's if in A, or it'd be 5th flat 7, and then 1 if you're in D. If you're gonna do that in the band and you have lots of extra pieces, horns, vocals, whatever, make everyone do that because she's a freak, right? It's such a hook because she's a freak. So here we go. All right, so we walk down. Then it goes this walk down here goes. Where it goes back and forth to that G. And then that's when it goes to the A7 sharp 5 there. Just A7, but make your E and F. Make your 5th up 1. And that's basically it. When you do that walk down, you can do that walk down in unison. You can do it in power chords, you know, that but you're hearing the rest of the instruments just basically just kind of go alternate back and forth between this little shape where you have a D, a C, and an F to a D, a C, and an E. But you can make it bigger by going, right? You can walk down with it, however you want to do it, however big you want to do it with your band. And you'll see them varied a lot. Okay, I've spoken enough. Let's let it go.
Come here, Michael.
Come here, Michael Hampton.
Michael Hampton, everybody. Say yeah! If you feel all right, say hell yeah!
So they switched back and forth between that D minor 7 to A minor 7, and now it's right back into the verse part, through the lead. Now what's crazy about this is that there's Eddie Hazel hanging out there in the back, but it's Michael Hampton taking the lead. Now, Michael Hampton's no slouch, right? This dude's bitching. But Eddie Hazel's, you know, some people call him the other Jimi Hendrix, right? So let's see if he takes a lead later in this and they do a dueling thing. I sure hope so. I sure hope so. So now just to give you some framework of what's happening here. If you noticed how his lead didn't really change tonality from the D minor 7 to the A minor 7 to this part where it's the E7, right, to the A minor 7, that's because he's choosing to stick with the F major tonal center or D minor tonal center, which is implied in the vocal and the verse part, right? But then, brought home like in that chorus part, like in the hook. So he's choosing to have his lead be the connector between the two, like the voices did before. He's just churning and burning. So you get little flashes walking through there, but anytime you get the in there, you see that E to an F right there? That's your dead giveaway. Because you're thinking E7 sharp 9, and you're thinking, oh, I can E blues over that all day. To an A minor, right? But when you get that E to an F, that 1 to a flat 9 in there, you're like, wait a minute. Something's happening here. Listen. Where do you go? God damn it. Yeah. And that right there, going to that major third of F right there. I love it. I just love it. I love it so much. That. Love it. I love it. But that was interesting though, because that's a major 6 there in the key of D. So he's really mixing and matching here. It's like he's going back and forth between D, like D Dorian and just D Aeolian, I gotta, this would be a very long lesson if I broke this down note for note. I try to keep these to a half an hour. It's so tempting to just blast through them. And, right there, he's clearly thinking A Dorian. He's thinking, you can see the F sharp all day, that major 6th, when we know the vocal line, the tag in there before is comes in on the F. It's so great to mix and match these thirds like that. That's what I'm saying. There's always so much more to these P-Funk tunes than you would first see. Yeah, and now he's just burning A minor. That's something you don't see much with the first finger bending up to the major 6. I love the syncopation in the hi-hats. This is one of my favorite parts in all P-Funk. The tss, 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 right? And the catch with the snare and the hi-hat at the same time, with the hi-hat lasting just as long as the whole beat of the snare, right? The kss, 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 duh, kss. It's that catch?
Ain't it funky, y'all?
Yeah.
I said, ain't that shit funky,
Yeah.
y'all? Oh, yeah.
Got Bernie back there. No.
Baby, come fly. Yeah, baby.
Dude, smoking a cigarette on stage. And I love this. How they cue every new part. Fly. And then they're right into it. Watch it again. That's not Bernie playing keys. I don't know where he is in 85. Maybe they have multiple key players. In a diaper smoking cig on stage. What is it?
Baby, come fly.
Hi-hat.
Yeah, baby. You see, fly, won't you come fly? And baby, come on, come fly. You see,
No. I have never seen the band as tight as this. I have never seen them do an ending like this ever. Dennis Chambers and the whole band. This is really. Yeah, watch them get into this again. Unbelievable.
yeah, baby. You see, fly, won't you come fly?
Love the gang vocals. You just can't beat it, man.
And baby, come on, come fly. You see, fly, won't you come
Dude. Oh man. I've never seen that before. I've never seen them do that. I have no idea what they're doing there. I'd have to go back and listen to it. I'm worried that this is already gonna. See, having an inner clock as a musician is huge, and you'd be surprised how much that skill set translates to doing things on camera. This camera I'm looking at right now only goes to 30 minutes. You see me just think it was over? It had 29 minutes and 40 seconds on it. It was about to die right before I do the sign off in the recap. So, because again, I don't do edits, and so I try to keep it as close to 30 minutes as possible. So if a student was in a room, they'd bring you this, you have 30 minutes, you gotta hit it and quit it, right? So, broad strokes here. Key takeaways. Dennis Chambers is a bad man. That was the funkiest knee deep or not just knee deep I've ever seen. George isn't even out there, by the way. Where is George? He's not even on the stage. I remember I've seen them so many times. Sometimes he wouldn't come out. Now I saw him in crack years and some hairy eras, but he'd come out like song like 8 or 9, and just hit the microphone and bark in it. Woof. Anyhow, what's cool about this is obviously, one, this is a rhythm first band. It's about driving home the whoa, dum dum boo dum, dum dum dum, whatever, bum dum dum, dum dum dum, dum, right? That's the thing. That's the key takeaway. But then, when you have the structure based around something like that, you have a lot of liberties. The bass, while it's going from A to E, uses every chromatic note in between, and it's all about getting little pushes, sometimes from lower, some higher, but you're always just getting there. The harmonic stabs E7 sharp 9 to A minor 7. So it'd be very easy to say, okay, that's a 1 to a 5, so like A harmonic minor. And then the melody notes come in, right, which they're singing, which is the hook, which is what the audience is singing, right? This is what the audience is singing, the... That comes from D minor or F major. So that puts us in the territory of basically A Phrygian to D natural minor, and then all the other notes come from it. You got the right. You got 1 flat 7 flat 6 5. It's all D natural minor, and then you got that stab of A7. When they want to push it back home, they raise the major third. Remember, we're third hunting. That is a leading tone, but they keep the F in it. F is the secret note in here. And then when you have Michael Solon over there, which is so interesting, Eddie's not soloing. There's no Eddie, there's no George, and there's no... unless there's 2 keyboards, even though it sounded like Bernie, there's no Bernie. There was someone else playing keys. Forgive me for not knowing your name. But what a great version, Not Bootsy on bass, but just a great, probably the best version I've ever seen. And then during the lead solo, you see him kind of, I have to watch it again, but now that I've watched it and kind of internalized it, it makes me think that, when he was accentuating the D minor kind of and the F major before, maybe it wasn't on purpose, because when he goes down into the other part, he abandons the F for the F sharp like all day and starts really playing off G major or A Dorian. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, because if it sounds good, it is good, but that isn't consistent with what happened earlier in the tune. Wild. And so this is kind of that thing where, this band, in their own way, in their very unique way, was extremely psychedelic, took a lot of chances, and allowed the band a great deal of leeway to be whoever they wanted and do whatever they wanted. It was a great gift of George's to get people to get out of themselves what was in there, and maybe they didn't know it. So he was a great, great band leader in that sense. Actually, now, I never really totally made the connection, but now that I'm kind of getting into the dead, I see that corollary where rhythmically, it was very strict, right? It was very strict, But harmonically and melodically, especially with all the gang vocals and people in key, out of key, and leads in one mode and harmonies in another mode, melodically and harmonically, it was very loose. And lots of sound effects, lots of crazy stuff. So I think what always made sense to me, though, because I've always been a rhythm-first player. I always think drums first, is that it was the rhythm that kind of held it all together. And it was so cool how the guitars and the vocals and everything else, that could all change on top of it. But there was always that underlying current of just one, which really made the crowd work always, which is why, in the end of the day, I was able to, have a good time in Myrtle Beach with the black girls that thought the white dude, wasn't worthy of the funk, if you will. So, yeah, brings people together. Love it. Huge part of my life. Huge part of my life. George, don't go anywhere. Please don't go anywhere. 2020's taken enough. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. So again, thank you to Joshua for pinging me on the site, pinging me on email multiple times. I think you shot me a message on Instagram. I finally got to you. Thanks for being a student. Thanks for checking out the new Jerry course. And for all you guys out there, if you do like the way I play, you like the way I teach, you like the vibe of this community, you're looking to pick this thing up every day and get better, I would encourage you to join Josh and a bunch of others and myself over at GuitarGeek.com. It's the first link in the description. It's how I support the channel, and you get all my lessons and courses for $10. And that's it. Yes. The answer is yes.